Hi, it's Joanne. Today we're watching Criminal Minds, Season 17, Episode 7, Piranha. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go. There's 4 episodes left, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm stressed. Oh dear.
Did you spike my drink?
I think he's going to do a lot worse than that.
I'm going to give you... Why her?
What?
Ooh.
Why did you do this to her?
Her who?
So he's killing for vigilante reasons?
Knock her out first.
I don't feel like this guy knows what he's talking about.
Did you take turns? All of you.
I mean, you'd say whatever he wants. Do you think he wants to hear if it'll stop the pain? So he's gonna kill you very painfully, I'm pretty sure.
David.
Because this guy doesn't seem to know what's going on, and he does seem to be lying to try and stop the pain.
There was no daring.
Maybe this guy really did hurt someone, but he didn't seem to have a clue, and he seemed like he was making things up. Which, if this guy's just gonna get random people and accuse them. Holiday baby. So is he like a dad who some people like raped his daughter and he's trying to get justice? Possibly and murdered. This isn't how you get justice. When someone, I can't even imagine what the pain of someone having done that to someone you love. He has a baby. I thought he was imagining a baby's cries to begin with. So was it like his wife?
Finding out that our research is behind Gold Star? Yeah, it's like a baby.
I mean, it was Rossi's research.
It's the next step with Gold Star now that we know that the BAU is the North Star behind the monster.
We're working on it.
Just stay vigilant.
Partly why we didn't publish.
You can't think of anyone who would have had access to this?
Someone must have.
Well, we buried it so nobody could find it. But
Well, it exists, so you didn't bury it.
Okay,
Should have burnt it.
Analysis of your T's have a loop. Means you're sensitive to criticism. Might be paranoid.
No, You got me.
Let's talk to her. She helped you guys in the beginning.
No,
Why not? She had access to the paper, didn't she?
probably.
Well, then what are we
Jill's
waiting
behind it
for?
all.
Garcia can track her.
I am forbidding you from contacting Jill.
Why? What's the history here?
Not depression.
So was she raped and the baby's
We
from the rape?
have a son. I found number 3.
Is that why you were up all night?
She knows.
Yes,
Did you make him suffer?
Okay.
I did.
I really hope this baby is going to be raised by somebody other than these two, and its biological father, if its biological father was a rapist. Like,
Then I can pretend.
Jesus.
Then I will be.
Like, is he just picking,
Excuse me.
like, the baby's part Asian, so he's just grabbing 4 Asian men?
You're not gonna mess with my head again, are you?
Of course I am, but not with this.
Tyler has become like
Does the
their
name
pet.
Jason, does the name Jill Gideon mean anything to you?
Oh.
Dr. Jill Gideon studies how genes and physiology shape our
Oh, Jill's
psychology.
behind all of this.
Epigenetics.
Your deal isn't just going through, my friend. It is gone.
Oh god.
Great. Your shirt. Why is it wrinkled?
You do not want to be this man's lawyer.
Be a shame if something happened to her.
Jesus Christ.
Someone who knows a lot of someones who can make that something happen.
Yeah, but it takes a certain kind of person to be a lawyer to someone like Voight when then you know they're
Where'd we
guilty.
go?
Try to do better.
What are you talking about?
I don't want to knock her unconscious or pull out her fingernails or shoot her in the knee to get her to talk. I want to stay on the right side of the law.
Billy is like, what the
What do you
fuck?
think we're going to do?
Jill's my old friend.
I didn't mean that.
Oh,
Light, non-violent.
got it.
Alan George, sexual assault conviction.
All right, that would give us motive.
Yeah, one that leads to a pregnancy.
Okay. So maybe these men did do it? Or at the very least, the first guy did do it? maybe. I mean, the last guy, I'm not like, oh, I believe him, but he didn't seem to have a clue what was going on. And like, even when he was trying to give answers to make the pain stop, the answers weren't correct. She.
Oh, God.
Remember me?
Oh, God.
He does
No,
remember
you
her.
did.
He's not denying that he did this anymore. Like, did he just throw up because he was scared? But he's not. He stopped saying.
How's he doing?
He left the unit a couple years ago.
And they don't speak.
Well, what about
That's what.
Derek?
It's so funny when they leave.
Also left.
Why don't I feel better?
Yeah, because this is not the way to get over a trauma like the one you went through. It is actually not going to heal anything at all.
Fiance, is that spelled correctly?
Yes, it is.
That changes everything.
Yes, it does.
So he was gay.
Okay.
So did he just throw up because he was scared? I mean, again, even if he was the rapist, I don't think he should be killed by having acid poured over him. I think he should go to prison for most of his life, if not all of it. But like, he just threw up because he was scared, and like she was staring at him really freakily, and it was a scary situation. It was just weird to me that he started off by saying, "I think you've got the wrong, what? You have the wrong guy. I haven't done anything like that. I don't know what you're talking about." And then he saw her, and he was like, "Oh no." So, what is it?
We need you to come to Quantico and help us with the white paper.
She should have told Rossi she was doing this instead of telling him she wouldn't.
Look, did he break your heart?
Oh, please. I broke his.
She was. I mean, that's a shit thing to do to your friend when it comes to Gideon. Was at the very least Gideon and Jill were broken up at that time, right?
There was a kid in the crowd, and an overzealous DA decided to charge it as attempted sexual contact with a child.
These guys aren't rapists.
Thank you for coming.
I feel like she's either going to be involved
Ah,
or going to get
she's a
killed because
profiler.
Emily came here.
She is.
Why did she bring Tyler?
Help the younger agents with the benefit of our experience, but...
Oh,
Oh, Tyler Green. Jill, this is Tyler Green.
You were brought here because you have a similar facial structure to my son, Steven. No offense, but he's a lot more handsome than you are. Know these tricks.
Tyler is only here because I wanted you to meet the next generation of the BAU. And if someone like
Tyler's
him
like,
or
I'm
JJ
that.
were to get killed in the line of duty because of some connection you could have filled in, I know you wouldn't be able to live with yourself.
Not even Jason was this manipulative.
But that's not a no.
Go get me Dr. Moreno. She'll know what to do.
Is like the baby actually his and she's been faking it this whole time? Because I don't know.
All I hear from you is no. I can't hear it anymore.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay? We'll do it
This
your way.
I'm so what is happening? Now I'm beginning to think like, does his wife, is she just not even real? Did the guy throw up because he was like, my wife's going to tell you what to do, and then there was no one sat there, and so he realized the guy was insane and there was no chance he was getting out of this, and that's why she couldn't press the button because she wasn't there, and either she died in the delivery of the baby, or the baby is just theirs, or the baby's also not real. Like, he's just completely delusional. Maybe he did have a wife and she was raped and murdered, and he's now just, this is how he's coping with it, or I don't know.
Feels responsible for some trauma that he externalizes as his wife's rape.
His wife died giving birth to their baby.
Externalization.
Emma first.
Roger, let me out of here.
Emma first.
Is Emma dead?
doing this?
We're putting these pieces together, but they are a complicated puzzle.
About the wife.
That's still unclear. She could be a victim of his delusion or a participant in it.
Yeah, our number one priority.
Yeah,
right
but
now
it's
is
whether
Dr.
she's
Moreno.
real, whether she's
We have
dead,
to
whether
proceed
the
with
baby's
caution
alive,
because
whether she's
Roger's
alive.
delusional psychosis.
I'm trying.
Roger, please.
She
listen.
can't hear it. The doctor
You need
can't
to take
hear
your
them.
wife to a hospital.
I can't do that.
You have to.
Emma and the baby
She's
died at
hemorrhaging.
home.
She is going to die. Once in your life, think about her.
All I do is think about her.
No, it hasn't.
Ooh.
Not to deliver at home.
She wanted it.
No, you did. And then you
Fuck.
ground her down until she agreed.
And then she died.
I see this all the time. Who are you talking to?
Yep.
You heard that, right?
Can you help my wife?
Roger, put your hands up.
He's so delusional.
Wife and baby, you just can't.
I tried to help her and I just...
Roger, put your hands up. Put your
Oh,
hands on top of your
the
head.
flies. Oh, Lord. That explains why the guy who was not a rapist threw up. Oh my god, she was sat there! Fucking hell. Everything makes sense. None of the men were rapists. I was right in thinking that. This was a messy one. Just an absolute
My wife.
psychic break.
Tell her I love her. Tell
I
her
mean,
to
of a
be
controlling, a somewhat abusive husband, if not completely abusive. But it's not really a case where you get the bad guy and you can be like, thank God we got him, yes.
Keep digging.
You're so eager for your wife to be murdered so you can keep some of your money. Voight knows how to find him, which is his whole thing.
Going to give Damien that case.
Elias, if I'm participating as an accessory to a felony.
We're way beyond that. So you're
What?
gonna give Damien his
A serial killer that you know is a serial killer asks you to go dig something up for him. In exchange for him having your wife murdered, and you're now like, is this a felony? How did this man pass law school?
Not for any reason. Open it.
I wouldn't open it. I'd be concerned it was going to blow up my face. We miss him. Also, the only reason Rossi didn't want them to meet her was because of them sleeping together, like, 30 years ago, when it could actually help solve a murder investigation. He needs to grow up.
I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, this isn't Jason's office anymore.
I'm sorry, I thought you were evil for a second. I mean, I didn't seriously think she was evil, but I was like, she could be the candidate.
Hello, David.
Okay. I do like that in this show, they don't pretend that the characters that left never existed. You do really feel like they're still part of the family and the history of the BAU. Though I do have some confusion over how this team that is like a family that like will fight for each other, would die for each other, then one of them like stops working with them and they're like, who? What? Nope. Oh, I haven't heard from him since he left the office. Like they would have like some degree of contact with Hotch, with Morgan, depending on what, like if Reed is just like doing research or something like at a university somewhere, they'd have contact with Reed. If he's like, I don't know, off traveling the world, maybe it's spotty contact, I don't know, I can't remember what they actually said Reed was doing. But they would still have contact with each other. But they do a good job of keeping them remembered within the show. Now, if Rossi's only reason for not wanting them to bring in Jill was because they had a little thing together 30 years ago, he needs to grow up. Whereas if it was because, as we saw, it was emotionally taxing for her to come back and like be in this place that her ex-husband was in, but if she can provide valuable insight and stop people being murdered, I think we need to do it, as we have done. He's going to be mad at Emily though. Not that he had any right to forbid her. I mean, maybe it was partly because he thought it would be too hard for her to be back here without Gideon, but I do think it was largely just because of their little sleepy, and grow up. People are dying. Now, my number one question there is, at what point did they separate? Because it can't have been an affair. Because if it was an affair, my opinion of Rossi drastically plummets. But it just was a messy breakup. Like, it's bad enough to date your friend's ex, let alone when you all work together. Yeah. Not a good look for Rossi, either way, but a better look if it was just after they were together, rather than while they were together. Now, looking into the old files, trying to find some connection, we need to figure out who the hell had access to this information and went off and did it. Why didn't they burn the research? Like, they clearly weren't going to do anything with the research. They weren't planning on submitting it. They weren't planning on getting funding for it, or even submitting it as an idea. They dropped it. They didn't do it. They didn't hand in whatever they were assigned to hand in. Yet they didn't burn the thing, so someone else could steal it at some point or get it at some point. And why on earth did old oh my lord, he's already been dead a season. Doug West from Heroes. Oh, my brain fog and names is so frustrating. Why did he know about it? Like, at least they knew about like it's baffling to me. It will become clear, but right now I am baffled. So I'm glad we're getting pieces of the puzzle put together. I'm glad we're figuring things out, but I'm stressed. And I'm stressed about Voight. He's still in contact with Damien. He's still hanging out with Damien. He gave Damien instructions that he's still continuing. Voight isn't going to just be happy with his deal. He's going to pull whatever strings he could. Though this lawyer, seriously, when making a deal with a serial killer to have his own wife executed for some money, not even because she's a bad person or she hurt him or she did something, the money is then like, is it a felony? Voight terrifies me, and he's definitely going to not be in prison at the end of the season, I have a feeling, and I'm stressed about it. I don't like it. Then, I mean, Jill Gideon coming back is a good thing if she can help us, and we need all the help we can get. I just wish Reed was in it. I fully support Matthew Gray Goobler. I've never actually heard his name pronounced, I've just seen it. He doesn't have to come back if he doesn't want to, but I'm like, please. But in the actual case, it's one of those cases where there is no winning. Like, obviously, in none of these cases is there winning because multiple people are dead almost every single time. But in this case, no one is winning because this was just somebody who had an extreme mental break. And again, obviously, like, women, please don't let your husbands talk you into doing dangerous things like home births when you're at risk. Like, no, but it makes you think of what other aspects and what other elements of their relationship, of their marriage, did he control? Abuse isn't always physical. It isn't even always about, it can be controlling. It can be about always having the final word. And sure, she can decide what's for dinner tonight. I don't really care about that. She can decide what restaurant we go to, but not any big decision, that's mine. I'm the man. Like, that's a red flag. Run for the hills. It's funny, when at the beginning of the episode, when he woke up and he could hear a baby crying, I was like, he's imagining a baby. And then there was a real baby, and it was really cute, and that distracted me, because they picked a really cute baby. And then, yeah, I was confused about why the guy had thrown up and then stopped protesting his innocence, so I was like, oh, maybe he was one of the rapists? Nothing else seemed to make sense. Like, the first guy definitely had no idea what was going on and was just trying to say whatever he could to make the pain stop. But the second guy we saw, like, went really, but obviously now you're like, I initially just, when I was thinking she didn't exist, thought he had just seen an empty chair and realized the guy was insane, but he saw a rotting corpse, and at that point you're dead. The crazy person's not letting you, the person who's lost their mind is not going to let you go at that point. The poor guy. It's a very well put together case in terms of us solving it, because we knew who it was from the beginning and we knew why from the beginning, but it didn't make sense, like, with either of the victims when they were kind of gradually all the pieces, and seeing JJ and Luke trying to put it all together. And I guess the reason he then had the delusion that she was bleeding and that things still weren't okay, and then he had to go and get the doctor, was because, and clearly the bad men had left something inside of her, was because it wasn't okay. Like, he killed the rapist, but she was still dead. And she wasn't going to miraculously spring up back to life and be mum of the year to their living child, because that was never going to happen. So his delusion had to continue and spiral. And it's what ultimately gave him away, because they hadn't tracked down who these people were until then. It's a very, very sad story, most especially for Emma and the baby. Like, maybe they still would have lost their lives, maybe the baby still would have died if it was a high-risk pregnancy, but Emma probably would have been able to survive. If anything, him hearing her screaming and like running in and seeing blood is probably what started on the day she died. So no one wins here. The victims most especially, and you have to remember Emma is one of those victims of this man and his need for control and then his psychotic break. Kind of a little bit of a reprieve from the Gold Star investigation this episode. Like, obviously we were putting plans into motion by like getting information, getting Gillian in, but so was Voight, so was Damien in the background. It's stressful. This show is twisted, and I just love the way the cases come together, but most importantly, I love this team and how much they feel like a family. And it's why I love that they reference the people who aren't here like they matter and like they were important. That's why it doesn't make sense to me that just because somebody stops working with you or even moves away, you never have contact with them ever again. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, for some of them, maybe, like when Gideon left, he kind of just, I mean, he just ghosted them all and ditched them. But like, you could see if any of them had left being like, I can't take this life anymore, I need to just have a break free of it. But like, when Penelope did that, she still saw them all the time. So like, realistically, when she wears Morgan, wears Hotch, Emily wouldn't be like, they quit years ago. She would be like, oh, you know, they've left the BAU, but you know, Hotch is now teaching at a university, or I don't know, like Hotch is doing this, and oh, Morgan's got that. He's got 3 kids now. You know, like, she would have information about their lives to impart to this person that cares about them, but wasn't close enough to them to stay in touch, whereas Emily was. And again, obviously they don't want to, I guess, write those characters, but it would be nice information for the fans as well. Like, we know Hotch didn't exactly leave under good circumstances, and Morgan, it was, I believe, it was his choice. Like, he moved on to SWAT and things, but we could get a little tidbit about what their lives are up to, and we'd love it. So yes, I love this team. Even when the show is extremely twisted, I love this team. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.